Hey guys, welcome to the woods. Well, I got us a great spot. It's a nice little stream running down here. And it's funny to think about that little river, not a river, stream. That little meandering stream carving, these big hillsides. I don't know if I'm really giving the angle. I mean, it's pretty steep up there. Anyway, and I got this nice spot on this fallen tree. Anyway, all right. Oh, well, I should show you one more thing. Look at that big rock outcropping. Beautiful. Anyway, downtown Baltimore. You gotta love it. All right, so what was I thinking about that I wanted to mention on this video today for some short message, because it's Sunday afternoon and it's beautiful out here. I don't know. What else have I got to do? All right, so back to my story. You can really find tricks to dial up your ability to connect, tune in, tap in, turn on, get into that blissful feeling where everything is going your way, everything's going to work out, and you don't feel stressed about how things are going to work out. And that's easier said than done, but that's where we're all going, right? You want to lean that direction at least. Feeling like everything's going my way, everything always works out for me. So what do I say to help you want to meander up that stream? But that would be totally wrong, wouldn't it? I want you to just go with the stream. I want you to go that way. But you can't tell from this camera unless I turn it all the way around. So we're going to forget about that part. But I do want to say that for me, getting out in the woods is a perfect example of one of those things where I just can dial up, even if I only get an hour. I mean, usually I get 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7. But if I only have an hour to myself, it's worth it to get to the woods. Partially because I've been in the woods for it a bit, I guess. But I didn't grow up in the woods. I'm a city person. I mean, I own not one piece of camouflage. But not that that's a thing or an indicator of anything, but I also don't have a gun rack in my pickup truck, and none of that. No, what I'm saying is I just grew up in the city in Cleveland, and coming out in the woods was a little, it was like when I was young, it was a curiosity thing, but it was a little sketchy. You didn't know if somebody lived in those woods and was going to shoot you or something, and so everyone has a little bit of trepidation with the woods, but most people then get over it, and then they're really attracted to the woods. But all spiritual masters have basically said being around these trees and the sun coming through the trees and the sound of the water trickling down and the walking on logs and stuff, balancing over rivers and hearing the birds chirping, and you're moving, but you're not really overly straining yourself with exercise. And it's just, if you do it a lot, then your body gets really good at what you do, which is really what we're after, right? I don't need to tune myself to be, a gymnast. I just need to know how to drop and roll if I fall off a log, But I used to race mountain bikes down this hill, so I've had some practice at it. But it's a practice at it part that's really important. It's just being comfortable and practicing. What do I do? I guess this would be my point, because I can't tell you what to do. I don't want to tell you exactly what I'm doing. You could sit next to a potted plant at a window, and that would be just as good for the magic of nature. But my point is, what I want to encourage you to think more consciously about the things that help you tune in. Like what leans into my, even if you want to start with, I'm more comfortable by myself, I need more time alone. And I get a little bit wigged when I'm around people too much. Now, everybody leans a different direction. Some people are like, I need to get out and get around some people. I need to charge my batteries. I need to get out. And that should be the direction, whatever feels soft to you at the time. You might later then find, well, now I'm hanging out with all my friends and I realize I didn't need to live in that hellhole where I was, and I just got a new spot with some other friend. It's so much nicer. I have a balcony now and I look out over the park. I'm making this up, but you know what I'm saying. It's like whatever your situation is, when you think positively about where you're going, the next good thing just comes. And so that's the synchronicity that you want to find in your own life. So me telling you should get out in the woods Nah. I'm just giving you signposts to know that you're on the right path when you say, you know what? I'm going to put this down. And I'm going to take it easy on myself for a minute. And be more aware when I feel a little funky, a little fearful, a little bit apprehensive, a little bit anxious. Just no reasons, no problem, Dan. I got nothing I'm trying to bring up. I'm just feeling a little bit, I don't know. It's just not a great day. That's all. And I'm making that part up too because I'm having a great day. I'm on day 3. I have counted like how many days in a row it gets progressively better for me. Just that feeling when you wake up. The quality of your dreams at night, you know, the whole picture. Oh, just a leaf falling. I thought I saw a deer moving back there. Anyway, all those juicy things that make for a happy day. You can keep tabs on that. And you can be more conscious about how you arrange your life to create more of it. Whatever is your quiet time when you're feeling energized, you know, take time to meditate. Yeah, but, you know, depends on what you're doing. It's really it's your whole lean. It's your whole life. Yes, meditation absolutely is a big part of it. I basically, out in the woods, there's something to be said for the human body moving. Just general movement. Don't really need to be doing so much exercising. Trust me, I've done a lot of training and a lot of, you know, all kinds of, you know, monitoring of my statistics and things like that. And anyway, when you're racing, you just experiment with everything. That was sort of the nature of the beast. But anyway, and I learned a lot from it, but I really found that my ability to be tuned in, tapped in, turned on was by and large the most powerful weapon in any endeavor I've ever taken on. But for so many years of my life, I didn't have anyone who ever said, hey, this is it, you know, like Tony Robbins did, but he's you know, he's a little younger than me, you know, so I sort of got a whiff of him. I was already on my trajectory, you know, and being busy and doing a lot, that's my middle name. So some of the toughest vibrational shift that went through for me when I started sitting on logs in the woods was, wow, I got to appreciate all the things that have led me here. You know, the mountain biking just got me into the woods and I didn't have to feel like I was sitting in the woods. I don't know. It got me comfortable in the woods, but that was just sort of a part of the journey. And so was the training and that deeper understanding of myself. But really, it started way before that. I don't think anybody really has something that really happens in their life that they didn't dream of happening. So all this stuff that's happening in my life, I feel comfortable in it because I know it's stuff that I've picked up from my ethers. Now, I didn't always talk about it that way, that my, you know, aura, my vibration, my soul was like a frequency receiver and I can pull out of it whatever scenario I want and it has that same effect on people around me. If I want people to be comfortable and loving and open when they're with me, I just hold that vibration myself. And you experience out of people what you want to experience. Now, that doesn't mean that, you know, we don't have ups and downs situations and I don't have any tricky things in my life anymore. But I just know when something feels tricky to breathe through it. And I've practiced the sense of calming myself. And I know, don't think about an answer. Don't think about how you're going to solve this. Just know when you wake up tomorrow, it's going to be better. And I pull up to the helicopter view. One of the other important things, I think, I got 2 important things I want to get across to you. The magic of the cell phone and the helicopter view. So helicopter view, you know you are an energy ball. You're floating around the galaxy. The planet goes around the sun and flows around the solar system. Well, our solar system, in its swirl, is swirling around the galaxy. And in its swirl, it's swirling around the universe. It's all particles in motion, exactly the same proportion and speed related to distance and size and weight and density and all that as the very particles in your body. We're not any more dense than space itself out there. How could it be any different, right? Everything is infinitely going large and everything's infinitely going small, and anywhere you want to slice it in the middle, it's all the same. We're energy creating matter and festering over the planet's surface here on Earth in this part of the galaxy. And it's a beautiful opportunity. But you gotta let go of some stuff. There's nothing here you need to do. There's nothing you could have done wrong. For some reason, our culture in the past drummed up all this stuff about being unworthy and needing to be forgiven for stuff. And it's like the only reason a person like myself would mention forgiveness is I really do feel like the key to the gate to opening up this whole untapped knowledge and understanding of who you really are, the key to that gate is simply the matter of you feeling worthy. Like the door's not actually locked, but if you don't go up and turn it like you mean it, it doesn't open. And that seems so airy-fairy, like I gotta pull a sword out of the stone or something like that. But that's why there's stories like that, because how else do you describe this? But you need to find your own journey, your own path of least resistance. It's another thing that they all kind of come back to as a common denominator. Jesus showed you who you really are. He didn't say, I'm God and you're the lowly man who needs to earn his way and being like me. No, he's just saying, hey, take it easy. We are all made in the image and likeness of God, aka he's energy, we're energy. Just trying to meld into the vibration of the planet where it is in the galaxy. It's tricky. It's tricky. But it's done through your emotions. Feeling the vibration and being sensitive to the vibrational effect of things around you, and then you get the sensitivity to breathe in the ethers of the informational, like every radio station's playing in your living room. It's all right here. You just have to become vibrationally worthy of it. And that's done by loving on yourself, accepting what is, and taking time to just let flow what flows. And if something comes up into your mind or an experience outside of you that doesn't feel good, that's all right. Just know you're going to apply the same technique, and you're going to go back within, and you're going to think of the helicopter view. And when things feel good and you feel good about yourself, and maybe it's the next day when you wake up, but you go to the helicopter view anyway and you feel good about things and you're laying in bed, then you can start to think about how maybe some of these things are going to work themselves out. And then ideas come to you because you're still feeling good. But you're like, oh, Aunt Mabel, she'll know how to fix this problem. And you call up Aunt Mabel and she's like, honey, I've been looking for something to do. Sure, I got that taken care of. Don't you fret yourself. And everybody's got that person in their life, but we don't go get them. We don't go ask for help because we feel worthy of sitting in our muck and in our struggle. And that's why when people who want to go and help, they can't really help. Would be a better view. They can't really help because no one really wants to take the help. Why? We feel unworthy. We feel condemned. We feel wrong. And that's that whole, if you wanted to say there was sin, it's the sin of thinking that you could have ever done something wrong. It's really what it is. You can't mess it up. The planet's going to revolve and do its orbit no matter what I do. But that's not where you want to sit for the rest of your life. So you're going to go back into your life and you're going to apply that sense of things, though. Then you come down out of the helicopter view, you work in your day, you take some phone calls, this and that, things happen. Every once in a while, you just be conscious of your breath, especially when you listen to somebody talking to you. If you've meditated a bit and you've focused on your breath, which is magical, I don't want to say that's not magical, and I only got 2 minutes left, and I got to say something about the cell phone, so I might just move to that, but focusing on your breath is important. The cell phone. What's the magic of us being at this part of the galaxy right now is that we are more tuned into the vibrational perfection of who we are, aka the collective consciousness, your soul, the light of divinity, the ethers around you. We can tune in better. So now we know how to use technology. We know how to create technology. So we've got the technology thing. So the technology here is here to help us. And that's what's sort of not... Well, it resonated with me when I first heard it. So I'm like, yeah, that totally makes sense. So I just was done, locked in. I know that's done. I didn't personally get the message, but I've heard it from a few sources. Basically, technology came here not by aliens who are trying to attack us, but to give us the tool to do what? Talk to people from far away? Fly all over the planet? No. To get more from each other? Take advantage of each other in more swindly, mysterious ways, like, on the internet? No. But to give us more feedback. Instantaneously, we can give feedback to each other. But as we start to figure this out and get the feedback on what our brain's doing when we think positively and what it's doing when you think negatively, we'll look at disease differently, we'll look at financial situations differently, we'll look at our inability to share and our funky feeling that we have to hoard a whole bunch. Just like when the virus came around and all the toilet paper was gone. We didn't have a shortage of toilet paper, we just had everybody had a lot more in their house, and some people had none in their house. That's that fear vibration playing itself out in life. It plays itself out in a million different ways in life. But the cell phone, the phone in general, the technology, the whole ball of wax, our more sensitivity to vibrations, right? We used to have TV, we had an AM only, then we got FM, then we got television, and then we got cable, and satellites now, and so we're getting a little more sensitivity to the frequencies around us, which is because people are getting tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and they start to figure this stuff out, and the information's given to them because they feel worthy of it. So you focus on whatever makes you feel good about yourself and your worthiness, and you'll naturally migrate towards what you want to bring out into this world that only you brought, that only you have the key to, the gate that only you can open. But the cell phone is a great way. Like, I'm using my cell phone right now to make an I am statement of who I am and what I'm doing and what's working for me and what's not working for me, and why I think that of all the things I've mastered in my life, this is by far the most important one I should have mastered first when I was young and I didn't have anything else on my plate anyway. But there's a magical time called round 2, and that's when your kids are grown and they're taking care of themselves. They're basically self-sufficient. And I can go back to focusing on myself because I knew my spiritual journey was always going to be the most important thing to me. But I tried to kind of mix that into my work world, and I just always had a good sense of myself. But 40 years ago was so glued to attracting and being attracted to everyone's message about enlightenment. And I never really was telling it to anybody, really. But I was always just integrating it as much as I could. But I never was a meditator. I never did a meditation on a regular basis for more than a month. And that's probably still including up to today. I don't jump into any kind of like, discipline is the name of the game. No, it's like the same when I was racing mountain bikes. Training, it's finesse, it's a feeling. When do you feel over pushed? When can you push a little more? That's life. That's the only reason I could jump in and be good at it for such a short bit of time I'd been doing it. And, I was, for my group, I got a lot of first places, but anyway, but it was more of just an outlet for me to be fussing with my whole spiritual journey, which then eventually led me out into the woods. And now I'm just walking instead of riding my bike in the woods, and I'm not training and pushing myself, but I'm staying just as healthy. And I'm realizing that my body loves walking. I walked all day in my life anyway. I never really had a desk I sat at working on cars, but I walk around the same shop all day. But anyway, but then like busting out and getting out here into the woods in the middle of the day was like, I don't know, it was a big life change for me. There's a lot to adjust to. And I wouldn't say it's because I could afford to retire. I just saw a little window and said, you know what? If I die or become crippled or whatever other happens and I never really doubled down on my spiritual journey, that's the only thing I would regret in my life. So I'm like, all right, double down. So it's been like maybe it's my 3rd year. But this coronavirus has like kicked it up a notch. I'm like, the whole world has quieted down for me just by my thinking. It's beautiful. Now, there's a lot of suffering, but there's a lot of suffering anyway. There's a lot of suffering before the coronavirus. There's a lot of suffering. I saw this little video about the size of all these different diseases and stuff. There's been a whole bunch of viruses that I sort of know the name of, but I don't know anything about them, I'm thinking like smallpox, but it's not that one. But there's some other ones, some like really, really devastating ones that wiped out a lot of the population. And I guess that's a thing then. That's one of the ways I could go. A tree could fall on me, a bus could hit me, I could drown in the stream, I could pass out, I could black out, I could eat something wrong, I could choke on my lunch. There's a million of them. But are you living? Are you dreaming? Are you focusing on what makes you feel more dreamy, lofty, lovish? Anyway, I was had dreams of stopping this at 15 minutes. I see now it's 19 minutes and 59 seconds. Let's go to wrap up. I don't want to keep you guys. You got to get outside in the woods. All right, so what do we conclude here? Throw love bombs, but on yourself first. Love on yourself. Master the way you love yourself first. Because you're nothing until you do. Sorry to be that abrupt with it. But that's okay. It's just, don't miss out on the opportunity, because life begins at the door of you saying, you know what, I'm not going to push myself. Definitely not for anyone else. Just going to focus on my dreams and my things that feel good to me. And everyone will experience a more lovely version of me everywhere they go. So what else do they want? I don't know what people want out of anyone else, but it's usually to fill some funkiness we feel in ourselves. All right, concluding points. We just look at the sun shimmering onto that little babbling brook in the middle of this valley in Baltimore City. And anyway, all right, out.